Joining us now to discuss the legal ramifications with this kind of alternative pregnancy is reproduction lawyer Marla Neufeld. Marla, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. This is wonderful.
So, Marla, tell us, why is it so important to seek a reproduction lawyer before starting the process like Sophie did?
Well, I actually have my own personal experience with infertility and worked with a surrogate to have my own kids. So I've been through this surrogacy process as a parent, and I just know, having gone through it, that parents look to their lawyer to help lay out the path for them so they understand the roadmap of the legal consequences and obligations that are involved in this process. So it's super important that anybody considering the process like Sophie or any other third-party reproductive process, that they consult with an attorney in the state where the process is happening, because the state laws do differ from state to state.
Marla, tell us, what else do you advise your clients to do before proceeding with any third-party assistance?
So it's critical that at the very beginning of the process, the parties consult with an attorney so they understand what the legal implications may be. Not only should the parents speak to an attorney, but the donor or a surrogate should also speak to their own separate lawyer so they understand their rights and obligations as they move forward. So setting aside the legal component of everything, obviously it's very important that the parties work with a reputable fertility clinic. All things third-party reproductive related are governed by the FDA to ensure that it's done safely. So if the parties can handle their procedures with a fertility clinic, obviously everything will be handled in the safest way possible. And as Dr. Ish can speak to, it's recommended and sometimes even required by state law that the parties seek psychological counseling by a professional who is experienced in third-party reproduction, so that everybody involved can understand the emotional component. So legal, medical, and psychological are critical in any procedure, and it's all important to do at the very beginning before anyone's pregnant.
Now, if you decide to get pregnant in a certain state and then you leave that state, do you lose those rights, or does it stick to where you originally conceived?
Is complicated, obviously. So I think that's why it's important at the beginning of the process, you understand what your rights are, but there always is an added risk that if you move, you open yourself up to potentially being challenged. So for example, regarding sperm donation, some states are extremely strict and only permit the person to be classified as a donor if they involve a licensed physician. Whereas some states are a little more lenient and allow the parties to treat themselves as sperm donors if they do it at home with an at-home insemination kit. So really from state to state, you have to really analyze it to make sure your rights are protected and that you don't open yourself up to problems down the road.
So Dr. Ish, to you, tell us about surrogacy therapy.
Yeah, well, Doc, the worst problems you have are the ones you didn't see coming. So right? So the surrogacy support therapy is recommended before, during, and after your journey, just so you can set those boundaries, right? It's designed to help you manage the parent-surrogate relationship, set those proper boundaries, set the proper expectations, so we all are on the same page and understand what those pitfalls potentially may be and give you a skill set to prepare yourself for those down the road, because they're coming.
All right, so a lot of preparation has to go into this. You got to check those boxes off before you make the decision. Thank you so much, Marla.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.